Alright guys, I'm going to attempt to make a video about the Smith & Wesson 242. Now the reason I'm making this video is there are 0 videos, on YouTube at least, that I could find about this firearm. One of the reasons is it was only made for 1 year in 1990, but I do think it's a fantastic handgun and maybe the best defensive handgun you could buy, as long as you prefer revolvers. So first, a little bit about it. It is an L frame. It is 7 shots. It is 38 special only, which is okay by me. Of course, you can tell it's got a shrouded hammer. It's got a pinned front sight. It comes with what I believe is a Uncle Mike discontinued boot grip. But a rubber boot grip is hard to beat. The lightweight defensive handgun. This one comes in at 19 ounces. That's what it's published as, and I did weigh this revolver and all the other common ones that I carry so I can do a comparison. So first I just want to talk about this, and then I'll talk about why this one has such a perfect set of features. So before I go any further though, I was asked, will it pocket carry? So I'm wearing my blue jeans, which don't have the deepest pockets, but I guess you'd call them average. So let's see. Does it pocket carry? Yes, it does. It is fully concealed within my regular jean pocket, and you can draw it. One of the reasons you can pocket this, not only because it fits, but also because it has nothing to snag. No hammer, no adjustable rear sight. The front blade is sloped in the correct direction, so there's nothing that would snag as you draw from your pocket or from a holster. Because if it can snag, it will snag, and of course it will snag at the worst time. So I always have guns that are made for self-defense when I'm using it for that purpose. As you'll see, my other handguns that I commonly carry, these aren't all my handguns, but they're ones that I like because I do like revolvers. Most of them have a similar setup. So I took a lot of weights, and I'll show you the other handguns right now. Now these are all in order of weight, okay? And at the end I'll bring it around, but if you don't want to stick around this long, just know it's fantastic. If you could buy one, buy one. They are collector's items, but I will not be collecting this one. I will be shooting it and carrying it, because that's why I bought it. So starting here, I have the 351 PD. This is a fantastic revolver. This one actually has an aluminum cylinder. Now I know Smith and Colt have experimented with that, and it doesn't really work in 38 special or above, but it does work well for rimfire. So this one is 7 shots of 22 Magnum. Do not discount a 22 Magnum. It's a powerful round. I have a Spear Gold Dot short barrel formula, which actually expands to the size of a 38 wad cutter and gets more than 12 inches penetration in gel. Now gel is not bone, so rimfire is, may not be a one-shot stop. If you believe in that sort of thing, of course, placement is always key. But if it comes to having a gun or not having a gun, this is the lower limit. Okay, so if I'm wearing gym shorts with no belt, cutting the lawn, usually this is what I throw in my pocket. 11 ounces flat is as light as you can go. I would not want to shoot 11-ounce handgun with anything more than 22 Magnum. Maybe 32 H&R, maybe, but yeah, they make, I know Smith makes a Magnum version of this with a 357 Magnum. I would not want to shoot that at all. But the 7 shots gives you a lot of firepower. But of course the limitation is that round. And you can see that here. This is the 22 short barrel. Works good. So moving up, number 2 at 11.5 ounces, so just a ½ ounce more, you get the 32 H&R Magnum. And this is the model 331 with the hammer. This has become become my go-to carry gun for a while now because it's so light, and I do trust the H&R Magnum. If you don't know, it is a little lighter than 38 Special, but a little faster. So when it comes to overall power, it is equal. So you're not losing anything by switching to this cartridge, yet you get 6 rounds in a J-frame revolver, which is pretty awesome. So when I go belt carry, I don't pocket carry this one, but I do belt carry this if I don't want to feel a heavy lump. I carry this one a lot. So this one's quickly become one of my favorite revolvers. But sometimes you want a full 35 caliber. So I moved to the LCR, which of course I lose around. This one is my go-to pocket gun. That's why I have these Hogue boot grips on them. They work really well. They are slick on the side, but grippy and squishy on the back and front, which makes it ideal for drawing from a pocket. If you just had all rubber, then this would rub and snag. So this one's usually pretty dirty because it's full of pocket lint. But this one weighs in at 12.8 ounces. And in 38 Special plus P, that is very painful. I do not like to shoot this gun, even with 38s. But it is manageable. It works. Usually if I power down the rounds a little bit, it's acceptable. But if you need 35 caliber in the smallest, lightest package, and like I said, even if Smith & Wesson makes 11 ounces, I don't want it. This is the bare lowest I want with weight when shooting 38 Special. But they've trimmed so much metal off the cylinder. This, of course, is plastic, and the upper portion is aluminum with steel inserts. So Ruger's done a great job. These also have really good triggers. I really like the LCR line. And I do give it a little bit of an edge over the J-frame. So next one is probably the gun I've had the longest and the one I compare everything to, and that's the Smith & Wesson 642. Okay, I bought this when I first got a decent job, and I got enough money to do the concealed carry course. This was the first revolver I purchased. I've shot it so much that the barrel, actually, the rifling is smoothed out a lot. It's almost gone. I did ask Smith & Wesson if I could rebarrel it because it's, sentimental to me. They said no, because it has the aluminum frame. They cannot swap the barrel. It would warp the frame to unscrew it. So it is what it is. It does have a significant amount of nasty wear. You see that finish? And this is what an everyday carry revolver looks like. If someone's showing you a beautiful looking piece and they're like, oh, I carry this every day, what they're really saying is, hey, look at this new gun I bought. If you carry something every day, it should look like garbage. And mine does. But I still love it. So 642 weighs in at 14.7 ounces. I would say this is the lowest limit for comfortable shooting. So if you want to shoot, more than a handful of rounds, more than a single box of 50, this is the lower limit. So the LCR is acceptable for, a short while. This one, you could shoot boxes and boxes of ammo from it, and I have and do. So that, I think this reached a good equilibrium between weight and shootability. If there's a sweet spot, this is it, and that's why this has been in my rotation so long. So the next up in weight is the Taurus 450, because they don't make 46. You may need a 45, and the best 45 is 45 Colt. It is lower pressure. It is big. It is a man stopper. It is proven through the years. It was a military cartridge for a long time, been used in many, many battles. Time tested, wonderful. I have made a video on this. It is ported. I hate porting, but it is what it is. Titanium, 5-shot 45 Colt. And let's see, checking my notes on the weight. The M450 comes in at an even 20 ounces. 20 ounces. So that is less than the 3-inch LCRX, which I'll get to next. So very light. It has a little bit of size to it, but it actually conceals pretty decent. Next, the LCRX. This one has one of the best triggers of the group, stock trigger. Of course, you can tell it's unloaded. Just look at the light between the cylinder and the in the frame. It just has such a nice, controllable trigger and brake. I love it. 3 inches, which is the maximum length for me to carry strong side. Of course, 3 inches makes appendix out of the question. But it just has, just enough grip for good control, just enough barrel for good burn on your cartridge. Sights are adjustable, which I don't prefer. It's probably the only gun in this group. It is the only gun in the group with adjustable sights. But it makes for a great backpacking gun. Good for concealed carry as well. It is super duper thin. Even as a 5-shot 38, it has a thinner cylinder than any Smith & Wesson. So if you want comfortable carry with like a decent size, that's what you want, and that is an even 16 ounces. So I had these two guns mixed up. So I have a 16 ounces LCRX. So I had my, I'm sorry guys, 450, you get bumped up. So that one is a little bit above the 642, which you'd expect. I covered that one. 327, we bump up to 22.4 ounces. Okay, so this again is titanium and scandium. So it looks like a big beast, and it is, but the grip is super thin. And I've tried many different grips. I even made my own grips. This is the best that I found, is really what it came from. Because you get that third pinky on there, you can control the recoil. It is rated for 357 Magnum, but I would never carry that in it, even though it is acceptable in small doses. 38 is just going to give you better control, and self-defense is about control, if you ask me. So 8 shots, rolling in at 22.4 ounces. It is a fantastic gun, and I'm glad I have it. But that cylinder pokes out a little bit. You do feel it. It is hard to hide an end frame, which is why we're going to come back to this guy at the end. Moving up to the K6S. So K6S is 23.1. So very close to the 22. This one's all fancy metals. This is just plain old stainless steel, right? So this, I would say, is the upper limit on weight to carry comfortably. Okay, the K6S. And again, that's 23.1. So anything above that is going to be uncomfortable for all-day carry. This one does have a sweet, sweet trigger. So on par, or maybe even a little better than the LCR series. It is 357 Magnum rated. This one I can shoot mid-level Magnums with relative ease. High power will sting. But if I wanted to carry like a mid-level 357 Magnum, I would not hesitate to do so in this, but I do prefer 38s. Snag-free sights, you can drift them, but elevation is pretty much where it is. Night sights, lovely boot grips, made by Crimson Trace, although they are not laser grips. It is the thinnest, lightest 357 in all steel you can buy. They made flats on the side, right where you need it, so that it is as thin as it can be. Those flats help a lot. It is a comfortable handgun, 6-shot capacity, which made that one of my favorites, but may be bumped out by the new guy. So, moving on, the SP101 is 27.2, so we have a big bump up in weight. But if I were to carry full power 357, this is what I would want. I would want a 3-inch barrel, because you're burning so much powder. You need someplace to burn it that's inside the gun. You need that weight for the recoil. This particular one has a laser sight on it. It is hefty. It is comfortable in short bursts, but all day, that is a little too much weight for me. But if I needed a Magnum, if I was out in the woods and needed that much power to maybe take out a deer that I had wounded, this is what I would take. And the heaviest, the fattest guy is going to be the M10 at 29.6 ounces. Ugh, that's a lot of weight. Even though it's a smaller gun, it is a 6-shot 38 special only. Everyone knows what an M10 is. I love these grips, by the way. They don't add anything to the gun, and they have a laser on them. So I can have an adjustable sight without having something that snags by having that. But it shoots dead on with 158 grain lead bullets, which is what I shoot out of it. If you're going to change to something else, you will need to rely more on that laser. But this thing is the most pleasurable to shoot of all of them. 38 out of M10 all steel is just feels right, feels good. You need to make quick, accurate shots. This gun is perfect, but it's a brick, and I'm really not going to carry it because it is so heavy. Nearly 30 ounces. Just too much weight. And in the olden days, the only way to make a gun lighter was to make it smaller, so that's why they made a J-frame. But this gun in a smaller weight and add an extra round, and that would bring you full circle. To the 242, again at 19 ounces. So that would put me between the 450 and the LCRX, which is a nice spot to be. That's the sweet spot. That's the middle. So this gun, I'm going to shoot it a lot. I haven't shot it yet. I just got it. But on paper, the trigger, and man, it's a Smith & Wesson revolver. I have no doubts that it's going to shoot the way it's supposed to shoot. I've shot all these extensively. This kind of puts you in the sweet spot, in the middle. So it's a good middle spot for weight. It's a good middle spot for bulk as far as the thickness of the cylinder, which is the main concern when carrying. The length is 2.5 inches. So it splits the difference. If you wanted to carry this in your belt, in the front, you could. If you want to carry it strong side, you could. If you want to put it in your pocket, you could. That's all possible. So there it is, guys. Last look at the revolver. And leave any questions in the comments.